Coming up on AgweekTV, the North Dakota grain growers leave their national association. We'll look at the options for farmers facing Prevent Plant this season. And Grain Regulatory Authority shifts to the North Dakota Ag Department. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. China trade war news and weather have dominated headlines this week across the country, but we also have a breaking news story closer to home. The North Dakota Grain Growers Association has voted to withdraw from the National Association of Wheat Growers after 3 years of negotiations to work out differences between the groups. Grain Growers President Jeff Mertz says they made the decision to leave based on the return on investment for their membership dues in NOG and because they didn't feel they were being fairly represented on policy in Washington, D.C.
We thought there was a different view or philosophy, I guess, on a couple of things or how things should be done or ran. Seems like we come up with issues. Maybe we thought they should be a little more quicker on their feet.
Mertz refutes suggestions they left NOG due to the outcome of the national election 6 years ago. Meanwhile, NOG leadership says they did everything possible to address North Dakota's concerns. They're disappointed, but they don't believe there was an impasse on policy.
Just last month alone, we had over 66 meetings between the House and the Senate, specifically on trade. We continue to represent wheat growers as we move forward on Farm Bill implementation.
Gould says North Dakota has put their interests ahead of the nation's wheat industry the last 2 years by withholding half their dues, making it difficult to carry out the mission of the organization. The two groups will continue negotiations. Planting progress remains slow in the northwestern Corn Belt. In South Dakota, only 19% of the spring wheat is planted compared to the 76% average, and Minnesota is at 7% versus 51% normally. Some of those acres will likely be shifted to corn or other crops, or farmers may file a prevented plant claim. Martinson Ag in Fargo shared the last planting dates for insurance. For spring wheat in southern South Dakota, that date was May 5th, while for the northern half of the state and southern Minnesota, it's May 15th. Farmers in southern North Dakota and central Minnesota can plant until May 31st, and for the northern part of the area, the cutoff is June 5th. The last planting date for corn in most of North Dakota and South Dakota plus northern Minnesota is May 25th. For southeastern North Dakota and South Dakota and the southern half of Minnesota, the cutoff is May 31st. And for soybeans, the final plant date for the entire region is June 10th. 2019 is being compared to other wet years like 2013, where Prevent Plant acres topped 9.4 million acres in the U.S. More than 400 farmers in South Dakota and Nebraska facing this situation attended recent meetings in Yankton and Sioux Falls to find out what their options are and what PP payments might look like for their farm. More farmers are considering Prevent Plant this year, and Farm Credit Services is holding meetings to help them make that decision. Farmers first need to determine if they qualify, and there are minimums.
So on an optional unit, it's by unit and share. You'd have to have at least 20 acres or 20%, the lesser of each crop in that section to qualify. If you're on enterprise, it takes the lesser of 20 acres or 20% across all of your crop practice in that county.
The amount a farmer is paid for Prevent Plant is dependent on their coverage level and guarantee.
That guarantee is based off of your 10-year average at APH. So you're going to take that guarantee multiplied by the coverage level, multiplied by the spring price. For corn, it came in at $4 and $9.54 for soybeans.
That number will result in the total guarantee.
Then you're going to multiply that by the 55% for corn and 60% for soybeans if you do not have the buy-up. If you have the buy-up, that's an additional 5% coverage.
The main thing that crop insurance experts stress with Prevent Plant is that every operation is different.
It's by unit. So, every field or every section of ground is going to produce differently. So it's based off of that 10-year history on that field.
So farmers need to work closely with their crop insurance agent. The deadline for farmers reporting a prevented plant claim to their crop insurance agent is within 72 hours of deciding to quit planting, but no sooner than the final planting date for the crop. PP losses initially reported at acreage reporting time may be denied. With the wet fields in the region, when farmers get in the field, they'll likely have a narrow planting window and be seeding in less than ideal conditions. In the first installment of our season-long Planting to Processing series, sponsored by the North Dakota Soybean Council, we have planting tips to get soybeans off to a good start, including proper seedbed preparation and the use of seed treatments in cold soils.
It seems later this year, but it's probably more kind of a typical average type spring. With the last 4 or 5 springs have been pretty early.
Adam Spellhaug is an agronomist at Peterson Farms Seed, and he also farms near Kindred.
Right now it's 48 degrees and dropping.
So he understands the urge to get out in the field, but he also cautions against planting soybeans before the soil temperature reaches 50 to 55 degrees.
The biggest thing is make sure the ground is right. The soils are near or at 50 or soon to be. Use this full seed treatment. Watch your population. See, a lot more are seeding a little bit less population. So if you're doing lower populations, you want to make sure everything else is right. Using those fungicides, make sure your planting depth is accurate.
If the conditions are ready, don't wait, plant.
Extension agronomist Hans Kandel says for each day planting is delayed after May 1st, 1/3 of a bushel of yield is lost. Although mid-May is still ideal for planting soybeans, Kandel warns against planting if it's too muddy, and he also advises using seeds treated with fungicide as needed.
So seed treatments tend to be very helpful in the colder, wet conditions, and we have seen that farmers in this big study on average yield more, about a bushel plus, if they use seed treatment versus no seed treatment.
Kandel and Spellhaug say farmers may be thinking about changing seed maturities, but it's too early to consider that or worry about prevent plant. This is Rose Dunn for Ag Week.
You can read more on this in the next Ag Week magazine. Next week, we'll talk about pre-emergent herbicides, and if you can't use them, what are some other options? Ahead on AgweekTV, a huge grain fraud case is leading the state of North Dakota to make big changes in how the grain business is regulated.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Crary Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Crary offers 2 solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Crary Air Reel or Crary Wind System today.
One of the things that Mosaic does really well is focuses on balanced crop nutrition in the premium products that we design. And one of those products is Micro Essentials. But it provides in every single granule the nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, in some cases zinc. We added sulfur and zinc with Micro Essentials because sulfur is one of the most deficient nutrients and zinc is the most deficient micronutrient. So our goal is balanced crop nutrition and being able to provide those products to the farmers in the world today.
Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate. So when conditions are right, be ready with genuine Case IH parts from Titan Machinery. Only genuine Case IH parts are engineered to keep your equipment running at peak efficiency when you're running around the clock. Don't risk your bottom line with off-brand parts that don't meet the same standards. Visit your local Titan Machinery dealership today to find out why genuine Case IH parts offer the best value and performance for your operation.
When you think about it, productivity starts at planting. So it's time to rethink how productive your planter can be. We did with the new Case IH 2000 Series Early Riser Planter. We rethought your row unit so it's tougher, more accurate. We rethought your meter, took the most precise technology, factory installed it. We rethought every inch of the Case IH Early Riser Planter to make it the most productive planter around. And if you think about it, that's exactly what you want.
DTE is your headquarters for flatbeds and service bodies for your truck. Whether you need to haul bales, heavy commercial equipment, or take every tool with you, DTE has the truck equipment you need. We have over 200 units on hand or will custom build a flatbed or service body on your truck.
Like this Dewey's bale bed with dual lift cylinder arms. Lift, load, and handle your bales with ease.
When you need help at the farm, your business, or in the oil patch, count on DTE. DTE, let us build a truck for you.
In one of its last actions before adjourning, the North Dakota legislature approved shifting grain regulatory authority from the Public Service Commission to the Ag Department. It's largely in response to a multi-million-dollar case involving a rogue grain trader. Michael Pates has more in this week's Ag Week cover story.
I just want some fresh eyes in the industry.
Representative Dennis Johnson of Devil's Lake wanted to make some changes in state regulations after learning that grain buyer Hunter Hansen had stiffed farmers and elevators for $8.6 million worth of grain. So Johnson introduced a bill to move control to the state ag department. The bill also increases licensing and bonding fees.
I'm a producer. I've got the elevators from our area that were involved here, and as a producer, as chairman of the House Ag Committee, I felt a responsibility to address this issue.
Hansen was licensed by the Public Service Commission, but Johnson feels the PSC should have kept a closer eye on his business, especially since Hansen was only 21 years old.
It's our main revenue in North Dakota agriculture, and I want to make sure we're not going to have these hiccups.
This is huge. This is huge.
Senator Jerry Klein chaired the conference committee that finalized the bill. He says the legislature delayed substantive changes in regulation for 2 years, but says it's a start in protecting the state's farmers and elevators.
Bad guys are out there, and I don't care who regulates it and how much oversight we have in today's environment, in today's technological world. Bad people are going to do bad things, so we have to be very wary as producers and individuals.
North Dakota Ag Commissioner Doug Goring says he's asking for more staff and funding to handle the additional work. He says he'll meet with ag industry partners to get input on regulation. In Bismarck, this is Michael Pates for Ag Week.
The Ag Department will take over the program on August 1st. Grain regulation will be studied until the legislature meets again in 2 years, and more rules will be proposed in the next session. You can read more about it in the next Ag Week magazine or on agweek.com. We'd like to know what you think about Ag Week. We've put a survey about Ag Week magazine and AgweekTV on our website to get input from readers and viewers about our content. Your answers could help shape Ag Week's future. It will only take a few minutes, and you'll be entered in a drawing to win a Yeti cooler. You'll find it at agweek.com until May 15th. This is Beef Month. We'll see how cattle producers are working to feed more people with fewer cattle. And later, Montana sugar beet growers reach a deal with American Crystal. We'll see what that means for the industry.
At Superior Grain Equipment, we're committed to quality and service, offering you the best in grain storage and dryers for any size operation. Our experts will work with you to determine the most efficient and economical storage solution for your needs. We help protect your bottom line and your future with the industry's best bins and warranties. Make the superior choice for protection today and tomorrow with Superior Grain Equipment.
This is Dennis Belisky reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Luckin Trucks and Parts sells quality used parts for all makes and models. With over 50 acres of trucks and parts and new inventory arriving daily. Family owned and operated since 1966, Luckin's specializes in the sale of quality used medium to heavy duty truck parts as well as pre-owned trucks, trailers, and construction equipment. If it's on a truck, we got it. Call us today and let us get you your part.
How can one tillage tool handle most field conditions, residue types, and tillage practices? It takes a Renegade, the Summers VRT Renegade. Switch from vertical to aggressive tillage and anywhere in between. Adjust blade angles, tillage depth, and more on the go, all from an iPad. Get the tillage results you want, like only the Summers VRT Renegade can. For more information or a demo, contact your Summers dealer.
For over 40 years, Northside Implement has been your Gell and Vermeer dealer in Webster, South Dakota and Lidgerwood, North Dakota, with new equipment including feeding, grain handling, haying, and skid steer, as well as a nice selection of used equipment including sprayers, spreaders, seeding, as well as tractors and loaders. Northside Implement stands behind the equipment they sell with quality service guaranteed. See us for all your repairs and parts from tillage to skid steer loaders to combines and everything in between. Contact Dave, Liddell, Mike, or Chris today at Northside Implement or visit our website for our complete equipment listings.
May is Beef Month, and a time we recognize the economic impact the industry makes across the country. And in South Dakota, it accounts for $4.5 billion alone. It's also a time we thank cattle producers for their hard work. One of the 14,000 producers like Lori Johnson, who raises cattle near South Shore. She says today they're producing beef more efficiently than ever and with a lower carbon footprint.
We're producing more beef, or about the same amount of beef as we did in the 1970s, but with a third less cattle. And so that's something I think we can be proud of.
Cattle do that by converting the inedible parts of grains along with forages or grasses that cannot be digested by humans.
They're really the original upcycler, right? They're taking something that maybe wasn't useful and turning it into a useful protein for people around the world.
And for cattle producers, they strive to raise the highest quality beef product to feed their family, as well as their neighbors across the road or across the globe.
And we want to make sure that we're producing the safest and the most wholesome beef product that we can for the consumer.
Johnson says investments in new technology and genetics have also helped them produce cattle more efficiently and yet still preserve the environment. This week's Crop Stop takes us to Sisseton in northeast South Dakota. Mickle Pates found Sam Hansen and his cousin Ben getting ready to start seeding. They're partners in a custom seeding business. They bought a seeder this year and have about 3,000 acres to get started on. But so far it's been too wet, and this is the third year in a row spring field work has been delayed.
The ground's just too wet yet. Just getting this thing adjusted. We're going to try to put some oats in today. Just getting things worked out and getting excited to get in the field and get this work done.
Hansen says he's only heard of a few farmers who got in the field early in May, so he thinks there will be a lot less small grain planted in his area and more corn and beans. So what does the forecast look like for planting progress in the coming week? Here's Lydia with our AgriWeather outlook.
The cool and really gloomy weather from last week is now behind us, and things will start improving just a little bit as we get into the next work week. We've got a ridge setting up over much of the western and central United States that's going to bring in warmer weather from the south, working its way into the Central Plains, into Iowa, Illinois, the Corn Belt, further into the south and the east. We're going to stay pretty neutral near the average mark in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa, but warmer weather does start to work its way closer and closer to the north. Meanwhile, even further to the south, in the southern tier of the United States, downright hot weather is in store, with temperatures nearing 80, even 90 degrees, setting up for some stormy weather. As we get into the following week, the ridge starts to move off to the east. That's going to pull the warmer air further to the east as well, and some of that hot weather. We'll start to see a little more amplitude in our jet stream, which means we're starting to see a few more ups and downs, especially on the west coast, which is going to set up for a little more active period and push the warmer weather further off to the east. As for precipitation, for the first week, we're looking at showers in the southeast corner of the United States. We could see periodic rain from time to time. This doesn't mean we're going to be necessarily dry 100% of the days, but the bulk of the moisture will be in the southeast corner of the state. When we get a little more amplitude in that jet stream, that's when we start to see a more active period set up through the center of the country, with stormy weather across portions of the central and southern plains and more scattered showers from border to border Canada down to Mexico, right in the heart of the country. So this is setting up for May in full swing. We'll slowly see temperatures warm and warm as we get further into the month and closer to June. Expecting periodic rain from time to time the first week, and then more scattered showers as we get into the second week. And with that second week setup, we're looking at more storms likely in the central and southern plains.
We found out you can buy cameras for half the price, or you can buy them for 3 times the price of what you can get them at DRN, but we wanted to put them in. We wanted them to work. If they weren't working, it's nice to have somebody to call get them going. But one thing that surprised us on the cameras, how little a light you need. Saves a lot of steps for us and a lot less stress on the cattle.
Ag Week special, buy 3 cameras, get the 4th free. Call DRN ReadyTech for details.
Martinson Ag Risk Management offers a variety of crop marketing and crop insurance packages to our customers. With over 40 years of experience, our dedicated staff works hard to ensure you get the best advice on crop insurance, marketing, and risk management. Contact Randy or any of the staff at Martinson Ag Risk Management today at 701-205-4200 or visit us online at martinsonag.com.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
With the all-new GreenFit system from Reichart, plug-and-play is finally a reality when using John Deere AutoTrack guidance with existing new products like the Challenger 1000 series or all-new C-Series Rogators from Butler Machinery. GreenFit is an authorized navigation interface that utilizes existing John Deere AutoTrack guidance systems to steer most Challenger tractors and sprayers. GreenFit eliminates the worry of learning and converting to a new steering system when buying an industry-leading Challenger from Butler Machinery. Learn more about GreenFit at butlermachinery.com/greenfit.
Farmers take pride in growing safe, affordable, nutritious food. And since over 90% of U.S. farms are family or individually owned, keeping land and animals healthy makes sense for all of us. If you have questions about the food you eat, talk to the people who grow it. North Dakota farmers and ranchers are your best source for reliable facts on food and farming. Visit findourcommonground.com and become part of the food conversation today. Brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Checkoff.
Sugar beet planting is underway in Montana, and growers for the Sydney Sugars plant are in the fields after voting to accept an offer for 2019 beet production. The plant is owned by American Crystal Sugar of Moorhead, Minnesota. The grower contract is renegotiated every 3 years, but each year the growers decide individually if they'll sign the contract. The vote called for a $3.50 per ton reduction from the 2018 crop year, and the cuts are for 3 years. Members of the Montana-Dakota Beet Growers Association also worry about the long-term viability of the plant with the declining income. Joining us with more insight on this story is our own Mikkel Pates. And Mikkel, what about the future of the plant?
Well, you know, this is a plant that's owned as a subsidiary of American Crystal Sugar, a co-op out of Moorhead, and it's a question of how much the co-op back in the Red River Valley is going to make and how much the growers out there can make.
So what are the financial markers that they're going to use to determine if they're going to keep the plant going or if it is successful?
Well, I think American Crystal needs a certain amount of profit, just like anybody that owns anything. And then out there, they have formed a co-op that's tried to buy the plant. And I think that the amounts that they've offered are $20-30 million. But when you add in all the human resources or the computer software and things that come with operating a plant, it turns into quite a bit more, maybe close to twice that. So then eventually you kind of wonder if American Crystal would be could acquire at some future date the allotment that they are offered and then shut the plant down. This is a suspicion that many of the growers out there have. American Crystal has said no, they'd like to keep going, but of course they also want a higher level of profit than they've been able to get.
And the outcome will have an impact on growers in the Red River Valley, won't it?
Oh, sure. You know, you got Red River Valley is a very strong sugar beet center in the United States, and you have producers that want to produce as many beets as they can, and when they could maybe use some of that allotment here, then you have to wonder how much profit you need to make out of the Sydney area in order to offset your opportunity costs. So
thanks so much for your reporting. Nicole Pates joining us here with Insight today. And you can read more on agweek.com. Still ahead on AgweekTV, we'll see what's being done to increase biodiesel production and how that benefits farmers and drivers.
When planting season comes around, time is precious and you don't have a moment to waste. This spring, keep your planters rolling with a user-friendly seed tender from North Star Ag. We have seed tenders for every sized operation from Meridian, Unverferth, and J&M. North Star Ag also sells a variety of Valmar spreaders, the leader in air boom delivery, and is a full-service Meridian hopper bin dealer. Visit NorthstarAg.com to see our complete new and used equipment inventory or give us a call.
When you think about it, productivity starts at planting. So it's time to rethink how productive your planter can be. We did with the new Case IH 2000 Series Early Riser Planter. We rethought your row unit so it's tougher, more accurate. We rethought your meter, took the most precise technology, factory installed it. We rethought every inch of the Case IH Early Riser Planter to make it the most productive planter around. And if you think about it, that's exactly what you want.
Do you have a vested interest in land?
The upcoming Great Plains Land Expo is a must-attend event for landowners, developers, mineral interest owners, farm operators, and investors.
Join us on Wednesday, June 26 in Fargo as we hear from a variety of industry leaders speaking on topics relating to land, energy, and minerals.
You'll discover ways to capitalize on agriculture and energy opportunities and learn how to become a better steward of our natural resources.
Early bird rates are available, so register today at GreatPlainsLandExpo.com.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
AgweekTV Soy Insight, brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council.
Biodiesel is a growing market for soybean farmers, but it isn't always readily available for consumers and can be tricky to store and use. Biodiesel consultant Eric Lawson partners with soybean associations and organizations throughout the Midwest to provide the latest information on renewable and petroleum fuels. He spoke to growers in the Jamestown area about fueling their operations with biodiesel. He says there have been great enhancements in the industry since biodiesel was introduced, resulting in many more opportunities for producers.
Studies show that 63 cents a bushel can be attributed to the excess demand for soy oil through the biodiesel industry. And in North Dakota, with 35.5 bushel per acre average, that's approximately $22 to $23 per acre back to the farmer. So being able to use some of your own products, support your own industry is very valuable to the farmer.
It can be challenging finding places to buy biodiesel fuel, but the North Dakota Soybean Council has started working on an infrastructure program across the state to make it more readily available everywhere. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or download the AgWeek app. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we'll see you next week.